Good morning, students. In the last class, we have discussed respiration part of life process chapter. In today's class, let us discuss the transportation process of life process chapter. What is transportation? Transportation is the process of carrying respiratory gases, final digested end products from the point of their entry to the point of their utilization, and carrying of metabolic nitrogenous wastes from the site of their formation to the area of their discarding. In the transportation process, the chief functioning substance is blood. Blood has fluid medium which is known as blood plasma. Three types of blood cells are present suspended in this blood plasma. They are red blood cells, white blood cells, and platelets. Blood transports food, respiratory gases, and metabolic nitrogenous wastes. Blood plasma transports the digested food, carbon dioxide, and nitrogenous wastes in their dissolved form. Blood plasma does not transport oxygen because oxygen has poor solubility in blood plasma. So oxygen is carried by red blood cells. In the red blood cells, hemoglobin is present. Oxygen is carried by being bound to this hemoglobin. Transportation system in our body consists of three components. They are: number one, a pumping organ; number two, a network of tubes; and number three, a system to repair. Pumping organ is to push the blood forward so as to make it to reach all parts of the body. A network of tubes is to carry the pumped out blood so as to make the blood to reach all the tissues and organs. And a system in place is to repair the network of tubes if they get damaged. A system in place is to repair the network of tubes if they get damaged. First, let us discuss our pump, heart. Our heart is a muscular organ which has 4 chambers. These 4 chambers prevent the mixing of oxygen-rich blood from CO2-rich blood. The CO2-rich blood or the deoxygenated blood goes lungs for the CO2 to be removed and to get oxygenated or to receive the oxygen infused into the blood. The left atrium receives the oxygen-rich blood from lungs, and the right atrium receives the deoxygenated or CO2-rich blood from all body tissues. When the atria are receiving the blood, they are in relaxed condition, not in contracted condition. So receiving of this oxygenated and deoxygenated blood by left and right atria respectively occurs simultaneously. As they receive the blood simultaneously, then simultaneously the left and right atria contract. As the left and right atria are contracting, the ventricles are in expanded condition or in relaxed condition. And the blood is transferred from these atria to their respective ventricles. As already said, the left side blood and right side blood do not get mixed because the chambers are having completely separating walls. Interatrial wall is there as well as interventricular wall also is there. Once the blood is transferred to the ventricles, both left and right ventricles contract. From left ventricle, blood is pumped out to the body parts through aorta and from there through the remaining followed arteries. And from right ventricle, the deoxygenated blood is pumped out to the lungs through pulmonary artery. Ventricles has thick muscular walls than atria because they have to pump blood. If they have thin walls, they cannot pump the blood. In between atria and their respective ventricles, valves are present. In the same manner, in between the ventricles and the larger blood vessels that they carry the blood pumped out from the heart, some valves are present. These valves ensure that the blood does not flow backwards during the contraction of atria and ventricles. In four-chambered heart of humans, separation of the right side and left side of heart ensures that oxygenated and deoxygenated blood does not get mixed up with each other. In four-chambered heart of humans, separation of the right side and left side of heart ensures that the oxygenated and deoxygenated blood does not get mixed up with each other. This allows highly efficient supply of oxygen to the body and with which more energy is produced to maintain a constant body temperature from within inside. So these animals are known as endothermic animals. Which animals? The animals which can maintain constant body temperature from within their inside. Birds and mammals belong to this category. These are also called warm-blooded animals. Are we warm-blooded animal? Yes, we are warm-blooded animals. In ectothermic animals, energy is not used to maintain constant body temperature. What is ectothermic animals? Amphibians, reptiles, and fishes. Ecto means outside, thermic. The temperature from outside is taken by these animals. The body temperature depends on environment in these animals. So they are called ectothermic animals. Ecto means outside. Amphibians and reptiles have three-chambered heart. As they have three-chambered heart, they tolerate the mixing of oxygenated blood and deoxygenated blood to some extent. In fishes, there is only a two-chambered heart. The deoxygenated blood is pumped out by the fish heart to the gills. As the deoxygenated blood reaches the gills, there the blood gets oxygenated, and directly from the gills, the oxygenated blood goes to the body, and from there back it will come to heart. And again, heart pumps out the deoxygenated blood. So in fishes, the heart pumps out deoxygenated blood. In fishes, blood goes only once through the heart in a cardiac cycle. In fishes, blood goes only once through the heart in a cardiac cycle. So, this type of circulation is known as single circulation. In other vertebrates, that is amphibians, reptiles, birds and mammals, blood goes through the heart twice during each cardiac cycle. As blood goes twice during each cardiac cycle, this type of circulation is called double circulation. Coming to blood pressure. The force exerted by the blood against the wall of the arteries is known as blood pressure. Blood pressure is more in arteries than in veins. So generally, we consider blood pressure of arteries only to measure our health status. Pressure of blood inside the arteries during ventricular contraction or systole. Systole means ventricular contraction. When ventricles are getting contracted, some amount of pressure will be there on the walls of the arteries by the blood. This pressure is known as systolic pressure. The same way, when the ventricles are relaxed in the arteries, some amount of pressure will be there on their walls by the blood. So, the pressure of blood inside the arteries during ventricular relaxation or diastole is known as diastolic pressure. For a healthy human being, the normal blood pressure should be 120 nm or nanometer Hg by 80 nanometer Hg. 120 nm is systolic pressure and 80 nm should be diastolic pressure for a healthy human being. If it increases, it is known as high BP. If it decreases, it is known as low BP. But how to measure this BP or blood pressure? Blood pressure is measured by using an instrument known as sphygmomanometer. High BP is also known as hypertension. Hypertension is caused by constriction of arterioles. Constriction of arterioles result in increased resistance to the blood flow. Increased resistance to the blood flow results in a rupture of an artery. When arteries are getting ruptured, internal bleeding takes place. Coming to blood vessels or network of tubes. Network of tubes. Throughout the body, arteries and veins and their respective capillaries are present. Arteries carry the blood away from the heart to various organs. Arteries have thick elastic walls. Arteries have thick elastic walls. Veins, they collect blood from different organs and bring it back to the heart. Veins have no thick walls because blood in veins is no longer under pressure. So, there is no need of having thick walls like how thick walls are present in arteries. Veins have valves. Since the blood is at low pressure, the blood may move back. To ensure that blood does not flow back and it flows only in one direction, veins have valves inside of them. On reaching an organ or tissue, artery divides into many smaller blood vessels, which are known as capillaries. These smallest blood vessels or capillaries have only one cell thickness so that respiratory gases and digested food materials can be given to respective cells. And once the cellular respiration is completed, CO2 is formed, and this CO2 has to enter again back into the blood vessels. So the CO2 enters the capillaries, and these capillaries, they join back to form the veins. The capillaries that are formed by the division of arteries are known as arterioles, and capillaries that are going to join together and form veins are known as venules. If capillaries or any other blood vessels are getting ruptured due to any pressure or any other region, it has to there is going to be leakage that going to occur, and this leakage has to be plugged. Otherwise, what will happen? The plugging of these leakages is known as maintenance. The maintenance job is carried out by platelets. If the system of tubes develop a leak, bleeding occurs. The bleeding leads to loss of blood. Not only loss of blood, loss of pressure. When loss of pressure is there, it will reduce the efficiency of the pumping system, with which poor amount of oxygen will be supplied. To avoid all these negative consequences, platelets circulate around the body and plug the leaks by helping to clot the blood at the points of injury. So how the platelets are plugging the leaks? By helping the formation of clots, formation of blood clots at the points of injury. This is how maintenance job is done by platelets. In next class we will discuss about lymph and transport in plants, and followed by excretion. Thank you.